world of Maine seafood, lobsters are king. But in just the last few years, oysters have come a long way. Joe Riccio, a food writer and private chef and host of the Food Coma podcast, joins us from time to time on 207 to talk about food. And as he told Rob, there are now more good places to eat oysters in Maine than ever before.
Yeah, I mean, there used to be like one or two places that you kind of knew of for that. It was more of a niche thing. I mean, not that oysters are anything new, but as far as really being mainstream, yeah, I say the last like 5 years, and the newer places are, as we're going to discuss, are really raising the bar.
Well, that's the beautiful thing that's occurred is we got a lot more choices and the quality is up. So let's talk about some of the places that are among your favorites. Let's begin with Jolly Roger's Raw Bar in Wiscasset.
Yes, and again, like I said, talking about places, there are lots of oyster bars that everybody knows about, want to get off the beaten path. Wiscasset seemed like a good place to start. Halfway to the mid-coast from Portland. Jolly Roger's right on the water. It's brand new. He used to do, Andy, the owner, used to do more of events and things like that. And then this is his brick and mortar that just opened up. It's perfect. You're kind of like nudging your way, through the line at Reds and just kind of shoving people out of the way. And you come around the corner and there it is, like all opened up and beautiful and just like, pristine oysters. I mean, all these places have beautiful oysters. We can just assume that, but they're really into like the different farms. Like there's like a menu, then a separate card describing each oyster, like a paragraph about each. But just really delicious and great other items, scallop, crudo, chowder, etc.
Next on the list, a place whose name gives us a very good sense of what it's all about. Yeah. Freeport Oyster Company in Freeport.
Yes, and again, Freeport being what it is, it's changed a lot, but kind of still very LL Bean, tourist centric. So not a place you'd really expect to find a really good oyster bar per se. But yeah, Freeport Oyster is fantastic. They have also a really great lobster roll, just a really nice setup right in the middle of Freeport if you need the kind of break from all of the crowds in the shopping. But again, just like really well done, well thought out, beautiful oysters.
Rockport Harbor is a really lovely spot, and there's a place called the 18th Central Raw Bar in Rockport, and this is a really special place.
It is, yes, and you've been, and it's right on the water, right on that corner there in Rockport. Beautiful bar, all dark wood, it almost feels very like old, like English kind of pub, esque, but amazing menu. But the raw bar in particular, the oysters are fantastic. And they also even do a really nice, I was there, I had a broiled oyster that had like bone marrow and breadcrumbs and a few other things on it that was like delicious. I don't know, super decadent. But yeah, 18th Central is a must if you're in Rockport. It's fantastic.
I ran into you when you were shooting an episode for the Food Coma at Sopo Seafood in South Portland. I know it's a place you like a lot.
Yes, exactly. It's so funny we ran into each other that day. Yes, I've discussed Sopo Seafood before. Not only is it a great fish market, it's where I buy all the seafood for any of my private dinners, but they have a great oyster bar that serves all the the same things. You can also, while you're waiting for your fish to be packaged up or getting some caviar to go, sit down, crush a dozen oysters. Again, really, focused on the different farms, and they also have an assortment of other snacks like lobster rolls, etc. But Sopo Seafood is great.
What do you say to people who tell you, I don't like oysters? Can they be converted?
They can be. I think a lot of times for people with oysters, it's texture first. Also, I'm really picky about oysters. They have to be really cold, especially if you've ever had a room temperature oyster, and I like them kind of medium to smaller size. I think the bigger ones, the really big ones, I like those broiled or grilled personally. But I think in order for a beginner, I would go with a small to medium, because if you try to really gulp down one of those big ones, and maybe it's not the best.
Not for novices.
Yeah, and you know what? Cocktail sauce is another great, it's a good initiation kind of thing. It's a good way to kind of get used to the oyster with a familiar flavor of the cocktail sauce,
Here's another place with a good name, Lady Shuckers in Portland.
Yes, so Libby, it's an oyster truck, and also they put on really interesting events, whether it's on boats or whatever. They buy from all women farmers or oyster farmers. Really just a nice emphasis on sustainability. Again, I mean, all of these places all these places have great oysters. There's only so much you can really say about that. It's like, yes, they're all delicious, and it's Maine, and you're not going to really last that long if you're not serving good oysters, but
Damascotta has sort of become the oyster capital of Maine. I think it's probably not unfair to say. Right next door, just over the line in Newcastle, Shuck Station.
exactly. And like you said, we can't really talk about oysters in Maine without talking about someplace on the Damascotta River. And this is in Newcastle, not necessarily in downtown Damascotta. But again, yeah, Shuck Station. You ask most people in the restaurant industry here, it's usually a good indicator when they're always like, I'm like, where do you go in like the Damascotta area? The first answer is Shuck Station. And they also do a really nice array of baked oysters. I like personally like hot oysters as much as I like raw ones. I mean, I can put those things away. I mean, anytime you give me an opportunity to incorporate some kind of compound butter melted into the oyster, it firms it up. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. So they do those as well. But yeah, Shuck Station is fantastic.
If you'd like to see the full list of places Joe recommends, just head to the 207 section of our app or website.